welcome back to Pharma Info with Shubhashish. Now, so today's topic is synthesis of methohexital sodium, right? So what is methohexital sodium? This is one of the member of what barbituric acid derivative, right? Barbituric acid derivative. Now it falls under what? Because we all know that barbituric acid derivatives, they have already been categorized, or they can be categorized on the basis of the duration of action, right? Now let us move to the last one. That means the one from which we cannot get maximum duration of action. I'm talking about ultra short acting barbiturates, right? So we have a class that is called ultra short acting barbiturates, right? Barbiturates. Under this, methohexital sodium is found to be one of them, right? Okay, and that is why, as it is ultra short acting barbiturates, that means you cannot get the activity so long, even not even half an hour, right? So that is why, for the purpose of induction in or during general anesthesia, these are the drug of choice, or these are the agent of choice, I should say, because most of the times general anesthetics cannot be considered as a drug, as an adjuvant or as an adjunct to a surgical process, right? Chalo. So methohexital sodium falls under the category of ultra short acting barbiturates, right, and often been found to be one of the agent in general anesthesia as well, right? General anesthesia. Now we know about thiopental sodium, methohexital sodium. These are the few examples, okay, which are quite often been opted during a major surgery, right? A major surgery. That means for the purpose of general anesthesia. These are the agent of choice, right? Chalo, agents of choice. Now, so let's see that in my last video, you might have seen that how this barbituric acid can be developed from an open system to a closed system, right? Okay, closed system. I'm talking about the synthesis of barbital, right? So during the making of barbital, we have seen that what are the key agents or key compounds, right, which are involved in making the barbituric acid ring system I'm talking about, right? We are not talking about the substituents, we are not talking about the substituents, rather we are talking about the ring system. That means it's an interaction between urea as well as malonic acid in the form of an ester, right? Okay. Now let's see that how the structure looks, right, of this methohexital sodium. Okay. So methohexital sodium. So we all know that first and foremost, as just now we came to know that it belongs to barbituric acid derivative, right? So that means first and foremost we just try to figure out the basic skeleton of barbituric acid. So this is found to be the basic skeleton of barbituric acid, right? That means 1,3-diagenin, right? Diagenin, then 2,4,6 trione, right? Chalo. So metho means there should be a methyl to be placed at position 1, right? We have inserted one methyl group, right? Hexital, that means a 6-membered carbon system is there. As such, this is a 6-membered, right? Chalo, तो 6-membered कहाँ पे होना है उसको? Position 5 में, because we know that what is the importance of making this area disubstituted, right? And the pattern of substituents are found to be hydrocarbon, right? They can be a cyclized, they cannot. They can be a cyclized, they can be an open system as well, right? So chalo, hexital, right? Hexital. Okay, hexital means we'll just take here hex. That means 6 carbon, and al for, if we just expand it, it will become allyl, right? So that means two possibilities. One is of like this, hexital. So that means hexine, and the other one is allyl, right? And moreover, we have not violated. The researcher, they have not violated the classical requirement for the making of barbituric acid derivatives, right? It is clearly mentioned there that the hydrocarbon chain, if we just sum them up, the disubstituents, right, that should not exceed 9. So if we just count the number which are placed here, 1, 2, 3, and then here is 6, that means 9. 9 is there, 9 chalega, right? Okay. But beyond that, I think that there may be a decline in the activity profile and all, right? Okay. Chalo, so now let's move on to the next one. Now, if it is methohexital sodium, so where exactly we should put the sodium? So here, it is the area which can transform itself into an ionic product, right? That means O minus Na plus. So this is found to be the whole structure of methoxetyl sodium. Now let's see that how this IUPAC name stands, right? Okay, we don't have anything to do with the IUPAC name, because in my last video I have clearly it was clearly explained that what should be the name that we should give to this particular system. The system is, let us just put the name first, right? That is 1,3-diagenane, then 2,4,6-trione. In case of simply methoxetyl, not methoxetyl sodium, right? Or sodium salt of something, right? If you are going to frame the name of methoxetyl sodium, in that case we'll start the proceedings with sodium, or else simply if we just keep this C double bond O, in that case we can straightaway write 2,4,6-trione, right? Okay, chalo. So this is found to be so we are done with this. Now come to this area and this area, right? We have one methyl. So position 1 is occupied with a methyl. So likewise we'll just initiate the process with one methyl, and we are not supposed to write allyl. Instead we know 1, 2 and 3. So this is basically what? This is basically prop 2 in 1 I. So this is prop 2 in 1 I, right? Why prop 2 in? 1, 2, 3, then 2 I. So prop 2 in 1 I, right? Now, so this is all about this. Now let's move to this section. So this is not ein, rather in. Sorry, this is in. This one is ein, right? So this is in. Why in? Because double bond is there, right? Now here it is triple bond. So that means ein. So how many are there? So if we just consider this as the first carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is basically a paint 2 ein. Basically this is paint 2 ein, right? Say you just write here En, right? Because we have something here, enyl, right? Enyl. If we just try to write enyl, it looks like this, right? In 1 yl. If we just if it is simply an alkene, then we can write something like in. We don't have to write anything after that, right? But here we have to write something. Why? Because this is acting as a substituent, right? So that is why En, right? So here also same thing. It's not Yne, rather Yn, right? So paint 2 ein, right? So here paint 2 ein, but the straight chain is holding what? A substituent, where at position 1. So this is basically, it's not paint 2 ein, instead 1 methyl paint 2 ein, right? 1 methyl paint 2 ein, then 1 ein. So this is one, the other one is this. So both the substituents, okay, they are being held by this particular carbon, right? So this is the carbon which is holding these two essential substituents. So that is why this is position 5 holding this one and position 5 holding this one, right? So we have two substituents placed at position 5, and the way we should write their name is found to be something like this. So immediate after 1 methyl you should write 5, then bring this one, and then after that again 5, because it's not that two similar substituents as we found in case of barbital, right? They are found to be different. That is why there is a difference. And after that, once we are done with the substituents, naming and all, then we'll move to, after closing the bracket, then we'll move to the parent one. That is 1,3-diazinane 2,4,6-trione. That is sodium salt off, right? Okay. Now let's move on to the making of this methoxetyl sodium. How this can be made, how this can be synthesized, right? Okay. So we don't have anything to do with the closure of ring system. Why? Because we know that at the verge of completion we have to react, or we have to make them react. Make them means make those entities react. That means one is of malonic acid derivatives, the other one is from urea, right? So this urea and malonic acid derivatives, they have to be brought together, right? So that we can just make them react, and finally we can get the compound of interest, right? Now, so here the trick is, first and foremost, the one which we followed during the making of barbital, that is straightway we have taken what? We have inserted the diethyl or 2 ethyl groups, okay, with that malonic acid derivatives. But here these things we are not going to do. Instead, we have to we have to find some way by which we can insert both the substituents one after another to the malonic acid derivatives. Got my point? So likewise, let's start up the process. So one thing we have to do, that is, so what are those substituents? Let's just skip them for our convenience, right? So for our convenience, let's just skip them. One is found to be an allyl, CH2, CH, double bond CH2, and the other one is found to be 1-methyl, paint 2-ine, right? So these are the two substituents. Let us just deal with them one after another. We have to insert both these things to the malonic acid, right? Okay. Now let us just deal with the biggest one, the bigger one, right? The bigger one. How this can be, made and all, right? Okay. And finally, we have to insert this to the methylenic carbon of malonic acid. So now let us do one thing. Let us just take butane. Okay, so this is butane, right? This is butane. All I want is just to react, all I want is that the butane should react with an aldehyde. That is acetaldehyde. In presence of alkyl magnesium halide. So that is C2H5MgBr. What will be the outcome of this particular interaction? What will be the outcome of this particular interaction? Okay, let's see what will be the outcome. The outcome is so this is found to be the outcome, right? So what we are getting? Pentine, but we have a all. So ine all, right? So this is found to be the parent here. In this case, this is found to be the parent because this is found to be the only parent, right? Now here, as we have to deal with both the things like ine at the same time hydroxyl, it should come on top. So that is why we have given the priority to this hydroxyl, and this ine has become an all, right? Okay, chalo. Now what is next? What next, right? What next? Hydroxyl has to be converted to a bromine so that we can just make this bromine compound react with this methylenic hydrogen. Straightway this can be attached, right? So likewise, now here what we have to take, that is PBr3, phosphorus tribromide, right? So this should be the reagent with which we can just brominate this one, right? Chalo. So PBr3, what this will do? The PBr3 will act on the first intermediate, that is this one, okay? And while when there is a suitable interaction, then at the end of the process we can find this, no longer the hydroxyl is there, rather the hydroxyl has been replaced with a bromine, right? So thus we have got the second intermediate, right? So this is found to be the second intermediate that we got. Now let us just bring what next? The next, we have to react these things with one of the hydrogen of diethyl malonic acid, right? Chalo. So now let's see that how this can be done. How this can be done, right? So we have already made what? The major substituent. This one, right? The major substituent. Now we have to react this one, the second intermediate, react it with malonic acid derivatives, right? So likewise we'll just write H5C2O, C double bond O, CH2, C double bond O, then H5C2O. So this is basically diethyl malonate, right? So this is diethyl malonate. Now all I want is the second intermediate should react with this diethyl malonate. So what will happen? What is expected here? The H, that means the methylenic hydrogen, one of the methylenic hydrogen should take the, or rather the Br minus should take one of the, should extract one of the methylenic hydrogen and thus get inserted, or thus insert the rest of the portion to this particular center, right? So what will happen here? So what can be expected? Like CH, CH3, C triple bond C, then CH2, CH3. So we are done with what? One insertion. That means one of the substituents has already been inserted here. What next? The next is allyl, that is H2C, CH double bond CH2. This has to be reacted. We have still one more hydrogen, right? Which can interact with another bromine. So naturally, we can bring here, or we can interact this with allyl bromide. Allyl bromide. Okay, this allyl bromide can react with this. So what will happen? So when this third intermediate that we got just now, so this is found to be the third intermediate, right? The third intermediate should react with allyl bromide in presence of what? In presence of sodium. In presence of sodium. So allyl bromide in presence of sodium react with this so that things will get inserted. Okay, things will get inserted. So now what we got, something like this. What we got, something like this. So we are done with this making. That means di-substituted diethyl ester of malonic acid is there with us. What is left in the process? The thing which is left in the process is what? The thing which is left in the process is just react this with urea, okay, as we did last time, right? So we'll just write here urea, NH2, C double bond O, NH2, right? But we know that in case of methoxidal sodium, the first position is having a methyl. So that is why we'll just take monosubstituted urea. That means methyl urea will take. N-methyl urea will take, right? So this is the N-methyl urea will react with this particular thing, okay? This particular thing in presence of what? In presence of sodium methoxide, the one which we took last time, C2H5ONa. So what will happen? The merging will take place, right? It is the merging that eventually leads to the production of what? Definitely that eventually leads to the production of NCH3, C double bond O, and then NH like this. We are done with what? We are done with methoxidal sodium, methoxidal, and then we have to react this with sodium hydroxide. Okay, what will happen? What will happen? O minus Na. We have to make a sodium salt of this, no? So that means you need to treat this thing with sodium hydroxide. So what will happen? O minus Na plus will form, and thus will make what? Thus we can make what? O minus Na plus. That's all. That's all. Right? You can also use, okay. So this is the thing that we can make. We can, finally we can get what? Our compound of interest, that is methoxidal sodium. So first and foremost, you have to make this one. How this can be made? Just these two. This is coming from aldehyde, this is coming from imine, right? This is aldehyde, this is imine in presence of alkyl magnesium halide. What will happen? The merging will take place, right? And after that, so hydroxylated things will emerge, right? And after that, the hydroxyl has to be replaced with bromine. So we have with us alkyl, okay, an aliphatic bromide. We have to react this aliphatic bromide with the CH2. So first this will attach, and then allyl bromide in presence of sodium. Then this will attach, okay. And after that, the merging has to be made. The merging has to be made in between this with the methyl urea. So finally, the merging will take place in presence of what? Sodium methoxide, and finally treat these things with sodium hydroxide. So there is the formation of sodium salt of what? Sodium salt of methoxidal. Okay, and we have got, now this is the thing of, this is the structure which is of methoxidal sodium. Thus methoxidal sodium can be prepared, right? So hope you have understood the fact and file which is there in the making of methoxidal sodium. Okay, first try to make it, try to put it in your paper with a pen, right? So that you can get the rest of the things, right? So this is an overview of methoxidal sodium. Once you are with the pen and paper, you can just feel the essence of making methoxidal sodium, right? So with that, I'm concluding today's session. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience.